In America, the money is the religion.
Anna Maria Prekop, co-founder of OUTDID, reveals the raw truth behind the shiny moments, how she and her co-founder built their startup from nothing to a $2.5 million seed round.
I see businesses as a tool. Who you are behind that, who you are when you get home, when you talk with your family and with your friends, I think that's much more valuable because you mirror that in your business and not vice versa.
Hello, everybody. Today, we're thrilled to have Anna Maria with us. Thank you so much for joining us, Anna Maria. She is an accomplished entrepreneur and a visionary co-founder of OUTDID, a startup that just recently secured 2.5 million pounds of seed round, right? But Anna Maria is so much more than just the co-founder of OUTDID. Truly, when I went through your LinkedIn profile, I just lost track of things that you've done. And well, let's get to know her together. Again, thank you so much for joining us, Anna Maria.
Thank you for inviting me. I
Welcome.
wouldn't say I'm an accomplished entrepreneur yet, but I'm definitely working towards that.
There is nothing that I feel like there is nothing that would stop you to
There's
get
nothing
there.
that will stop me. Exactly.
So, okay, well, just very briefly, I mean, who is Anna Maria? How do you generally introduce yourself?
It really depends on the person.
Okay.
But now because we have a really wide audience, I will try to keep it more simple. So my name is Anna. And I prefer Ana rather than Ana Maria.
Oh, okay, Anna. All right.
Yeah. Ana Maria sounds a bit too Spanish. Right? And I'm really passionate about writing, about handball. I was a professional handball player a few years ago. Well, for a few years.
Okay.
And I'm really passionate about making people feel loved in general, and just making sure that through anything I do, I actually leave a better footprint on Earth.
All right. Everything you just said it's just actually, the personal side and your bigger mission rather than just business.
I see businesses as a tool,
Yeah, I see.
I mean, you can build one business, 3 businesses, 10, 1 foundation, 2 foundations, but who you are behind that, who you are when you get home and you talk with your family and with your friends, I think that's much more valuable because you mirror that in your business and not vice versa.
Okay, well, it's a very good point. Nice. It's a little different point than we generally hear, let's say. So, okay, as I said, you've you've tried and you've done so many things despite as I said, I just want to again point this out. Despite your very young age, you have gone through a lot of shifts in your career. I just want to know, I mean, what kept you going? What was the reason of trying so many different paths? So yeah, what was your maybe motivation for doing all that?
Yeah. So in between 14 and 20, I had no idea what I'm doing. Literally, I was just passionate about something, and I just wanted to pursue that for a specific period of time, but I had no idea what I'm doing. I had no big mission, vision. I didn't even know what those words were, although I was always passionate about reading business books and so on, but nothing concrete. I would like to say that I knew who I was at 14.
But I guess that's how you got to know yourself better, maybe.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. Actually, everything I've done since 14 played a huge role in the university I wanted to study and what I wanted to study at university. And even right now, I don't feel like I know my life mission or my life purpose, but I'm trying to just fully enjoy what I'm doing right now. If it changes in 1 year, that's fine. If it changes in a decade, that's fine. But I'm trying to not be worried and concerned and overthink a lot and just enjoy. It's hard. It's really hard. I've been working on it for so many years, but I feel like I'm getting better and better at enjoying today rather than worrying about tomorrow. Yeah.
Okay, very good. It's actually every people that spread wisdom, that are very spiritually accomplished, advanced. they do say always like try to focus to what is happening now. Like yesterday is the history and tomorrow is
mystery.
And try to focus at the present. And maybe maybe there is a point, right?
It sounds like such a cliche, right? Because everyone is mentioning, but when you look at people's lives, they actually really suck at it. So
it relates for me too. I really do suck at it. I get so frustrated maybe about the future, about something that I don't even know.
Exactly. Although you know the cliche, right? You know that you should focus on the present, but how many of us are actually good at it? None. Almost none, besides the gurus maybe, but
okay, so how many, I wouldn't say like how many years, how much time it took for you, but did you somehow like practice this? How do you practice this, like keeping yourself to your present?
Oh, right. So it's been a lot of work. I don't know exactly what happened throughout the years to make me feel more joyful today and wake up naturally and feel like, okay, today is going to be a good day. Okay. But what I do right now is I have a really positive mental dialogue. And I think that influences everything I do much more than anything else I do. Like not even my meditations, my times of silence, my writings and so on. Nothing compares to my mental dialogue.
All right.
Right?
So, okay. Do you
like
do
I wake up
mornings?
Whenever it comes.
Okay.
Like I'm in the morning, I'm so tired. I'm like, you know what? Today is actually gonna be a good day. Like being a bit more humoristic about life, not just so tired. I drank so much. Well, I don't drink, but I drank so much last night and blah, blah, blah. Or throughout the day, I know I'm walking towards my office and out of nowhere, now it became natural. But at the beginning, it felt a bit strange to talk with myself. Okay. Now it's more natural. And I keep telling myself, oh, that's great. Actually, I can walk.
Oh, nice.
That's so amazing. Oh, I can breathe this flower. It looks small, but for someone who can't walk, right, they would dream of doing that. And sometimes I just become aware and I tell myself, oh, these legs are actually amazing. They're doing their job. Yeah. You know, and I have that constant dialogue.
I think I should try. Maybe even like put some reminder doing this, because I really get worked up about like both past and future. And I am very anxious person, like really anxious. And I don't know what I'm anxious about.
I know what you mean. Yeah, I told you, like, even right now, I still struggle sometimes, of course. But it took me so much. Like, even this mental dialogue I told you, I felt, at the very beginning, I felt so awkward. I was like, why would I speak with myself, right? And all these things. And I kept getting anxious and concerned and worried about anything outside of my control, you know? But I think the most important aspect of our lives is to keep pushing, although it looks strange at the beginning and it feels uncomfortable. Okay. You know, like just keep doing it, and eventually it will clear out. You know, I could have not seen that a few years ago when I started my mental dialogue, right? The positive mental dialogue. I could have not seen it. But I read in a few books that that's okay. Some leaders I follow and resonate with said they do something similar to that. So I kind of knew that it is something there, but I just couldn't see the results because it takes a lot of time. I just trusted. Right. I trusted the process. And within a few years, I can say that yes, right now I feel like that plays a huge role in everything I do, feel or think.
Okay, that's such a great technique. Well, I should try and just stop thinking and overthinking about anything else. Okay, well, if we come to your current position as a co-founder of OUTDID, I just want to know a little more about the business itself, how it began, and what stage you are at, what is your mission?
So my co-founder and I, well, it's worth saying that my co-founder is also my partner. So we were living in Paris 3 years ago. I was studying my master's degree there. He was part of Entrepreneur First, an entrepreneurial program based in more cities, Paris included. And he had a pretty bad co-founder experience. So eventually he left the program and that company. I was having another company at that time, but which was not really growing much. So I can't say I was that satisfied, but I was doing something I was enjoying. I had an online language academy.
Language academy.
Yeah, exactly. So I was, you're curious. That's true.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah. And I was literally matching my friends who had time, who had knowledge, language knowledge, but no money.
Yeah.
With people who had no time and money, but they had money.
Yeah.
So I just kept matching them until eventually it became a business. Yeah, exactly. And but it wasn't growing as much as I wanted to. I think the business lacked technology. Most of the things were very operational. I was involved in most processes, so it lacked technology. And neither me or my founder at that time had tech knowledge or were curious enough to go for that while also studying. So it was quite difficult. But my co-founder told me, my partner told me, how about we start a company together? Because we have complementary skills. I'm a computer scientist. You're studying management, so presumably you want to be a manager.
Exactly.
How about exactly.
Side.
Yes, exactly. So he said, how about we start a company together? I said, yeah, we can do that. I definitely want to be an entrepreneur. And he said, sure, but you have to drop out for that because I can't be full-time in this and you're just semi-part-time. Look, he had a point, but when he said it, I didn't talk with him for like a few days because I felt like he was underestimating me. I said, look, I'm already running a company. I'm also running this NGO and I'm also top 1% of my university. Do you think I can't manage a business?
Yeah, well, so you wanted to show him that you can handle everything, right?
Everything.
Yeah.
But he was right.
Okay.
He was right. I couldn't. This was one of the reasons why my previous company wasn't growing.
Because there wasn't like real focus.
Not necessarily focus, but I didn't allocate enough resources.
Okay.
You know? Because not even right now, OUTDID is not the only focus I have. It's the place I spend most of my time on, but not my only focus in life. So diversity is something else. But yeah, basically he told me, how about we start a company? I said, okay. Fast forward, I dropped out from Paris. He dropped out too. He was studying in London, but online. Yeah. So it was much easier for him to take that program in Paris. We eventually dropped out, and then the question was, where should we go?
All right.
And we said, okay, let's go somewhere where we both speak the language, because he doesn't speak French. Well, I don't speak it that well either, but I could make my way. All right. He couldn't. So we said, okay, it's either UK or America.
Okay, nice.
And this is when I stepped in and I said, I don't want to be far away from my family.
Of course.
So UK is the choice.
And I think it's a good choice.
I think it's a really good choice if you appreciate life and balance as much as your financial freedom. I've been to America many times and it's just not the way I see myself living. I think it works for many people, it just doesn't work for me.
Okay.
And I said that's not what I want to do.
America is a great place to, start a startup. I guess it's the best place. You can grow a startup, you can get rich, you can scale faster maybe, and there is a lot of hustling in there.
Yes,
very
for sure.
Business oriented.
For sure, yes, for sure. Yeah, a friend of mine likes laughing about America, saying that in America the money is the religion.
Exactly right.
I mean, it might be. I know many people who are incredible in America, right? Who are very spiritual, very grounded, very balanced. But it takes time to get there. While in Europe, you can be balanced from the very beginning. Still hustle, still put all the effort. But I feel like people have a slower sense of time. Yeah,
I guess so.
And it resonates much more with me.
All right, good. Yeah. So you're happy with your choice, and now
I'm very happy with the choice. Actually, the first year was very difficult because we had no money. Yeah. We were super broke. Our families couldn't help us financially speaking because in Eastern Europe the salaries are not very high unless you are a super manager or a software developer, and neither of our parents is. Yeah. So we were literally with 1K in our pockets combined, and we just came to London with the idea to start a company.
How did you go through that period?
It was really difficult, really difficult. We found we knew someone who can give us a room for a few months, and we didn't have to pay anything, and that really saved us because we had nothing. And literally, even the room was just a bed and a wardrobe. You could not even walk around. Like you had to like jump on the bed. And this is how we lived for like 7 months or something like that. Yeah. And then, well, we were really lucky that we were together, so we could split the bed.
Right.
We also were very blessed with a friend of Zvezdin who is an angel investor, and he believed in Zvezdin a lot. And he gave us some sort of, not scholarship, but some financial help for a few months. He said, guys, I really believe in you. I want to support you. I see you really struggle. I'm gonna give you like 1K a month each or something. And he did that for like 4 or 5 months, which was such a blessing. I can't say I can't wait to be able to give back like that too.
All right.
And this is how we survived. And then we put our savings in Terra. I don't know if you know, but there's a cryptocurrency which had a really good yield. You put the money there and we get like 20% a year. I said, that's great. We can actually extend our runway. The problem was the company failed, like literally overnight, and we lost everything.
You lost all your savings.
We lost everything. And we said, we must find a grant. And overnight, we applied to like 30 grants, and eventually within a month, we got a 50K grant from a foundation. It's a blockchain foundation. It's called Aurora. Part of Near Protocol. And
so
it
you
really
applied
saved us.
to get the grant.
And we got it,
So you applied with your OUTDID project, right?
Yes.
Amazing.
And in 1 month, we got 50K, which was another big blessing coming our way. And to me, all this, although it was really hard, but having all these helpers and help and guidance along the way made me feel like we made the right decision to drop out, move to London and start a company. Although it was hard. But it felt like it was the right decision.
You started with quite like difficult conditions. I mean, you didn't have some kind of financial pillow that they say.
None.
You just decided to drop out. We're gonna go into this, and it took you. How long it took? Do you generate revenue right now?
So we do generate revenue, but it took at least 2 years to generate revenue. Yes, because the product is very complex, and it took 2 years only to develop it.
All right. So it took 2 years until you started generating revenue. And it must be very hard to go on like this with that kind of living conditions. Just want to ask, what kept you going besides the belief, for example?
Yeah. What kept us going? Foolishness. There's no other concrete thing that could have kept someone going in such conditions. I also knew no one in London, absolutely no one besides Zvezdin. Zvezdin also knew some people because he's not really into networking. So we were alone, broke, desperate. We had no idea what we were doing. He came without the idea. And this is, I think, the faith in the product and in the vision. The faith in the vision made us feel like we're actually doing something for humanity. And the purpose and the meaning we had might have been the only factors kept us going.
So, for example, when you divided your responsibilities, let's say, what was your main responsibilities that you did for your business, and what Zvezdin did?
Yeah, so Zvezdin is a tech genius. He is one of the most incredible tech people, tech person, curious mind I have ever met in my life. He almost had an asteroid named after him once. Yeah, he won the second prize, but if he would have won the first prize, an asteroid would have been named after him.
Nice.
So he's an incredible person. He built a writing machine at 16 that he sold. Incredible mind. And I was very passionate about humans. Like, I was very passionate. I would literally just sit in parks for hours on a bench admiring people. I would just look at people and just enjoy seeing human nature in its, human nature blossoming. And the beautiful thing about that is that you learn to understand humans much better because you don't hear the words, you only see the facial expressions, you see the body language, you see them cry, but the body doesn't really say that. Or the body is super tired, but the face is full of life. And you start really understanding how to interpret human nature much more. So throughout the years, I became very passionate about communication and how to communicate in a way that I actually express what I feel in my heart and in my mind. Because many times in calls, I have the impression that someone is telling me something, but it just doesn't align with anything else. It doesn't align with their body language. It doesn't align with the facial expression and so on. So I learned to deal with human nature much better. Thus, I was the one taking care of partnerships, taking care of customers, all the stakeholders like investors, and the business itself, like just driving the business forward, while Zvezdan was focusing on making sure the tech is strong. We have a patent pending application in America right now for our technology. So you can see the brain behind it. Yeah, so it's the business tech division, I would say, a bit more intertwined because Zvezdan also loves public speaking, for example. He looks a bit more shy, but he has some glimpses of networking, of social interactions. He's also very curious into developing his interpersonal skills much more. And I'm also very interested in developing my rationality much more, the way I think, because I find myself as a creative. I write poetry, I read books, and I feel like I'm a bit more messy in my head. And I'm learning from him to be much more structured in the way I talk, in the
grounded.
way grounded. Yes, exactly. As I'm much more volatile, emotionally speaking, right? And he's more grounded. So it's a bit more intertwined in business and tech,
Okay, it's a good match. It's a good match. So, but I have to ask now. So that you pointed out that he's also your partner and co-founding. So I just want to ask, how is it going? I mean, how do you navigate like the tough parts? Because it gets hard, like being romantically and at the same time driving the company. You mentioned before, just in relationships, there can be ups and downs, but the business has to go no matter what's going on there. So how do you?
Yeah, that's true. As you said, ups and downs. It's not always pink, it's not always bright and shiny. To be fair, I wanted to break up with him like 30 times in the past 4 years. He was more grounded and he said, look, let's just take a few days. Let's calm down. It's okay. I understand you're frustrated. That's okay. So it was really difficult because let's say you have a problem at home. You are frustrated, get to the office. I need to jump on a business meeting with him, and I'm still super frustrated with him.
Exactly.
He's
You're
frustrated
with
with
him.
me. Exactly. And then I have to jump in the call and be like, hey,
and you have to smile.
How's it going? Exactly. And the thing is, the frustration keeps building up. And eventually, because you had to put many things under the carpet, right? Because you couldn't explode in front of your customers or stakeholders. It's not their fault, right? We kept putting things under the carpet, especially me. And eventually I exploded. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't know how to continue. I feel like you're not listening to me and so on and so on. But eventually, and also we had very different languages, right? Because he would communicate in a very structured way, one thing at a time, when I was like talking about everything at the same time. And he was so confused. He couldn't follow. It's like, when did we get to this topic? We just started with something else. So the structure was super different. And we also don't speak each other's languages.
All right.
So we speak in English with each other, which is not our native language. So because of that, the way we communicate is much simpler. It's not we can't use very specific words,
yourself fully, right?
To express yourself fully, like we always had to translate our soul. And that's much harder, especially when it comes to the frustration of, I feel like you're not listening to me, or I feel like you don't care about that, or, Right now we're much better.
Okay, good.
But we had.
You wanted to split up.
Oh,
with
many
him,
times. I was even making I was putting my clothes in a piece of luggage and I was saying, I'm going home. And he took my hands. He was like, look, I understand you're frustrated. It's okay. Let's go for a walk. I can buy some ice cream. So yeah, and right now we're still together, and I feel like we're stronger than ever.
Okay, that's great.
But it took
a lot of effort.
A lot of effort and time to communicate. Express what we feel and feel understood and seen.
Okay, incredible. So if we get to the business side of your startup from the beginning and up till now, this question may be a little big, so take time answering it. I want to understand, what were the very important milestones from the beginning of your entrepreneurial journey, in terms of OUTDID and up to now? And as I said, what were the very important decisions that you had to make in order to reach those milestones and to hit the next one? Were there any specific, for example, actions that you had to take in specific milestones?
So I truly believe the biggest milestones we've achieved so far are personal, not necessarily business-wise, because I feel that the business is just a mirror of who you are, right? And I'm not talking about if the business is not successful or not successful. It's not that. It's just, is the business run on values? If yes, that's because you have values in the first place, right? Do you always focus on win-win situations in your business? If yes, that means that in your personal life you always focus on win-win situations, right? If someone is more sharky in business, I would not trust him or her as a friend either, right? Because it's just a mirror. So I think the biggest milestones we achieved so far were to learn to say no to opportunities. To learn to say no to opportunities which don't serve us, although they look shiny, and it feels like, that's the thing, when actually they're not. To let go of people. That was really difficult, to let go of people. It was really hard. We had someone in our team that it took us a long time to fire, although we should have done that after the second day of working together. And it was hard because it was the first time we had to let go of someone. And although we knew we have to do it, we didn't know how to do it. Yes, we didn't know how to do it. And because of that, I had to work a lot with myself in the meantime to learn how to do it.
I see.
Because even if you say to that person, you can't say you're fired, right? You have to give more context and also how you feel inside, right? For example, I worked so much that after I fired the person, next day I was super joyful. I said, great, now I can focus back on building the business. Where my co-founder, he could barely work for 2 months.
After you fired the person?
Yes, because he was so emotionally affected by the whole situation, because that guy looked like our friend. We were friends before he joined the company, but then he became very malicious. He stole the code, really bad stuff. We had to involve lawyers and so on. And Zvezdin felt betrayed. He thought that guy was his friend and he felt betrayed. So he had such an emotional burnout for 1 to 2 months, because he didn't prepare for that moment. I knew we had to fire him. And I was like, look, in business, some things are emotional, some are not, right? I care about that person. I would have liked to offer him a chance at another startup maybe, but I saw how malicious he is. I don't care. We're not a family in business, right? We are a high-performing sports team. If you don't perform, no matter how much I love you, we can't work together. So, this is the difference, right? In preparing and actually putting effort towards improving your skills and how you feel inside, your mental dialogue, because things happen, right? So that was a really big milestone for me, because I fired him, not Zvezdin. Zvezdin was here, but he couldn't say a word. He felt so betrayed, right? While for me, I'm not using emotions right now. I'm using rationality right now. Look, you've done this and this and this. We had to let go of you, right? For example. So letting go of someone. Then another thing we learn is to be bold and to actually ask for it. Ask for the thing you want. Because it took us such a long time to realize that if we don't do it, nobody's gonna do it for us. And we saw companies which were had much less experienced people in the team, with less hunger and less vision-oriented people, but they knew how to ask for what they wanted. And they outgrew us, you know? And I looked at that and I said, that's impossible. So I started to read negotiation books. I started to read how to be bolder, right? Like think bolder, how to ask for what you want and so on. And right now, if I want to be at the table and there's no chair left, I'm just gonna bring my own chair, right? That kind of attitude. And also, I think the fourth thing, which is also one of the most important points, is that I learned to be confident.
Okay,
Confident.
so how did you learn to?
It's by being heard, right? Like I had many meetings where I felt like the person underestimated me or made me feel small and stupid. I just went home and I cried. You know, I felt like that's impossible. I work much more than that person, right? How can he, because usually it's a he, make me feel like that, right? So I just learned to go to any meeting, even if it's the president of a country or, I don't know, someone who has a lower position in the company, to treat them the same. I have nothing to lose. And that's my mental dialogue. I have nothing to lose. If you don't like me, that's okay.
You are still the same.
I'm still the same, right? So I left meetings with really incredible people in this world. I met people like Richard Branson, for example. I went to his island this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, you went to Richard Branson's island.
Yeah. I met with ambassadors. I met with presidents. I had some really high-stake meetings. I wasn't nervous at all. I entered the room. I said, I'm gonna be myself. If they like me, they like me. If not, then there's no opportunity for us. I'm not craving, you know. I'm not begging for anything. If you think that we can't partner together, we're not gonna partner together, and that's it. But that took a lot of time.
Yeah,
a
I think
lot
it
of time.
It may take
a lot of time, right? Like I remember when I was 15, I was building my first NGO, and I had to ask for a sponsorship from a few companies back in my hometown. And I wanted to ask for a sponsorship from one of the pizzerias in the town. And I called the guy a few times. He treated me like a clot. And then he said, okay, come. I talked with him. He completely ignored. Like he said, but you're just a girl. You're a little girl. Like, how can you raise money for this thing? And, you know, and blah, 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 and all these things. It made me feel very small. And I went home and I cried when I was 15. And that happened many times until eventually you realize that nobody should have control over what I feel about myself.
So
you know?
It took some practice, actually.
A lot of years right?
Of practice.
Like I'd say that only last year I managed to become fully confident and I feel like I have nothing to lose in any relationship I have. Last year. After like 10 years of continuous work. Yeah.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, well, it takes time. You have to go through this to like stage.
Exactly,
you know?
Yes.
All right. So the milestones you said first. Oh, I forgot the first one.
So I said to say no to opportunities which don't serve you, to let go of people, to be confident. And I said one more, but I forgot it. Yeah. That, again, for our side. Business-wise, of course, we achieved, like we talked with all kinds of policymakers. We traveled around the world for different conferences, for different meetings with partners and so on. Had a few M&A discussions, although we didn't want to sell out necessarily, but we wanted to see how it works, right? And maybe keep the door open for the future, you never know. Negotiating a contract and so on, getting a grant, right? And then raising our seed round and so on, keeping the burn rate low. So we have more space to iterate, to experiment and all these things. Learning all these things, they are also milestones, in my opinion. Not only the shiny thing, you know, like, we raised 2.5 million and you have like 4 billionaires on your cap table. Yes, it's cool. I'm super honored for that, right? But that's one thing that happens once. And if you only cling on to this kind of feelings, which are so temporary, you're gonna get nowhere because you're gonna be like that, right? But if you find joy in the process itself and in the journey, and you fully trust with your whole being the vision of your company, which for us, the vision is to make the internet safer for everyone, because right now it's not, right?
It's getting even scarier.
Exactly.
In terms of safety.
Exactly.
In terms of safety and privacy, yeah.
Exactly. And people don't know. 99.9% of people have no idea what's going on online. They don't even know that their passport is worth less than $1.
I didn't know that, for example.
That's one of the small things. I never send important documents over email, for example, because it's not secure, right? I always upload it on a personal online storage space, which is private, and the server is, I trust the server and so on. Hosted on my computer. I just upload my documents there. Okay, you don't have to be that extreme.
Yeah.
But now, because I know the space, I know the risks associated with it. Yeah. So I'm trying to make it easier for people to have a good time online while they're being safe and their privacy is taken care of without necessarily them knowing, right? Because you try to protect people although they don't fully understand what's going on. It's like having your own kids. Like, they don't always have to know that you're holding their back, right? But you are there.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to do with humanity. Like, hold the privacy and the safety back without necessarily them knowing it. Yes, exactly. If they want to, they can. But you don't know, for example, do you know how Visa works? You can just pay, but you don't know what's going on behind the scenes, right? And this is what we want to do. Yeah.
Cool. We are running out of time a little bit. I wanted to actually touch this Sigma Squared Society as well, because you are an executive there, right?
I'm the UK executive, yeah.
UK. So what do you do there? And I wanted to, in generally ask about the tendency of young entrepreneurs. Where are they going? What are their ideas? I mean, for the future.
Right. So Sigma is one of the biggest communities for young, ambitious entrepreneurs under 26.
Yeah.
And what we do is to bring this incredible, bright minds and hearts together and make sure they have the resources they need to achieve their next milestone in business. And they're also supported with the community. So we truly believe that if we get 2 Sigma members from different parts of the world in the same place, they can have a meaningful, vulnerable, beautiful conversation without filters and without any mask on top. So these are the 2 things we put a lot of emphasis on. What I do in the UK chapter, I mostly focus on, we have 130 members in the UK chapter.
How many members?
130. Okay. So it's either the biggest or the second biggest in the world in terms of number of members.
Number of people, okay.
And I focus a lot on the people getting the resources they need. So I'm more like a bridge between them and investors, between them and potential customers, between them and a mentor,
okay,
and so on.
So, for example, if there are young entrepreneurs who would like to get, for example, maybe connected, or who would like to get more support in terms of mentoring, come to you, or they could get in touch with you? Yeah,
so Sigma is an invite-only community.
Okay,
we keep the bar really high.
All right.
And that's because we want to make sure that the quality of people is really high in terms of entrepreneurship mindset, values, and impact. So if someone would be interested in joining Sigma, they can message any single fellow. They can find on LinkedIn, they can message me, we can jump on a call. I can see if we resonate, and if yes, I can nominate you, but you'll still have to get through like all 3 interviews, 2 written reviews and all these things. And if only one person says no, you can't get in. So it's really and you have to be a founder. Have to be a founder or to have previous experience as a founder. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So it's not like an accelerator.
No, not at all. No, it's just a community. It's just a very active community. Yeah.
Oh, I see. Yeah. All right. Amazing. So
thank you. Yeah.
As I said, we're all running out of time a little bit, but we have a little segment which I call Behind the Biz. Yeah, just to get to know you a little bit.
I can be quick.
Yeah. Just just to get to know you as a person, rather than just business.
Yeah.
All right. So, what do you like the most about London?
I actually like to paint. I love the rain.
Okay, you're the second person who've ever answered like.
Well, not all the time.
Yeah.
But I don't have to crave it like in other parts of the world. So I like the rain and the diversity.
Diversity, of course.
Yeah. Diversity of people.
Yeah. I see. So, what is one food that you could always eat?
Vegetable soup. Yeah.
Oh, which one is that?
Any combination of vegetables and soup.
What is an activity that helps you rewind to like gather your energy?
Walking barefoot on grass or meditating.
Okay, very nice. I mean, it's quite easy to do, and
in London, no matter where you are, you're kind of close to a park, so that's not that difficult.
Okay, good. So if you had to, you said you read a lot of books and you write poetry, so this might be a little hard for you. That's why if you had to read only one book for the rest of your life, which would it be?
Okay, I'm gonna pick one of the best books I've read this year, which is Siddhartha by Hermann Hesse.
Oh, okay.
I felt very similar things reading Siddhartha than what I felt when I read 40 Rules of Love by Elif Shafak. I told you about the book before,
All right, good. So what would you say, like one trait of yours, like one characteristic of yours that plays the biggest role in your success, the most important?
I think being gentle with myself. When I mess something up, I keep telling myself, that's okay. That's okay. You're doing fine. Next time it's gonna be much better. Instead of actually falling into a negative trap when I beat myself.
All right. Okay. You don't beat yourself over. You just next time I'm gonna do better.
It's amazing I had the courage to do it in the first place.
Okay. That's amazing. Really great. And what is the one key lesson that you learned from your entrepreneurial experience or any other prior experience in your professional, let's say, journey?
That discipline beats talent.
Very good. Discipline beats talent. Yeah, nice. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed our conversation. Actually, it could have gone, I guess, a lot more because I had so many other questions that I couldn't ask.
The environment, right? Yeah. We are here in the heart of one of the biggest business centers in the world.
Yeah.
Right.
And you before the podcast, you actually mentioned that you met a person
who built this from
scratch.
Yeah, an incredible human being. I hope I will bring him on one of my newsletters as either a podcast or an article.
Okay.
I hope.
Yeah, we will.
He's an incredible leader who young people should really look up to rather than all the loud leaders we are seeing right now on social media. Yeah.
All right, I see. I would love to hear more about this. Maybe we could have you once again, or we could have your co-founder. He seems really interesting.
Yeah.
We would love.
I can share the link with the newsletter, and I really hope in the next 2 to 3 months to bring him in one of them.
All right.
Yeah.
So
that would be an incredible story.
Of course, we will be looking forward to your newsletter, and of course with this leader that you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, we had Anna today.
Thank you so much.
Yes. If you want to connect with her, or for example, if you are a young entrepreneur who want to connect this Sigma Squared society, right? They could reach out to you.
They can write to me at Anna at OUTDID.io. You'll probably see the name of the company, or just LinkedIn.
All right.
I'm really active on LinkedIn.
Okay, we will add your details.
That sounds great.
Down below. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.